Hello there, YouTubers, and welcome to another episode of DrCassette's workshop. On the bench tonight we have the Sansui C-2101 preamplifier. Now, I still have two of them. I have the one that belongs into the main stereo system, the one that was the result of a make one out of two project. And I still have this one. This is what remains. These are basically the bad parts of both preamplifiers, and I thought tonight we'd at least try to turn this into a, well, cosmetically not so nice looking, but at least technically fully functional unit. So I already did a bit of an assessment, and of course I had this thing sitting around in pieces for several months, if not a year, so it was quite dusty. I blew that all out with a compressor, and thankfully it also blew away most of the cigarette smell that this had. I also went ahead and yeah, what a difference that is. The input and output jacks, see how they are at least somewhat shiny? Well, previously they were just totally oxidized. So I gave those a nice treatment with contact spray and, you know, plugging RCA connector in and out and in and out, and, you know, just kind of scraping the oxidization off of there. And, well, aside from that, technically it appears to be working for the most part. We do have, of course, some of the light bulbs are out. In particular the one for tuner and the one for CD. Now luckily from the other one, where I replaced all the bulbs with LEDs, I kept some of those bulbs. Those over there are bad, I tested them. These are working, so I'm just going to fit two of those into here and that should fix it. The other thing that I am noticing is probably not that much of an easy fix. Now the first thing I'm going to do is go over the circuit board and look for bad solder joints. So I do remember some of the joints were bad on the other preamplifier, on these jacks. Some of them had cracked, so I'll definitely have to resolder that. But what might be a problem in this, and that's of course thanks to the smoker that owned this. Of course, the cigarette smoke and the nicotine, all that crap gets everywhere. And it seems like we might be having contact problems in these relays. And as you can see, there are a bunch of them. Now, luckily, it's relatively easy to open them. The covers just pop off like that, and you get the exposed contacts. So, should be possible to get some contact spray into there if necessary. I'm definitely not going to mess with these relays if I don't have to. And I also have a look at the power supply. In the other preamplifier, one of these rectifier bridges has been replaced for some reason. Yeah, that capacitor definitely looks like there was something wrong with it, but I guess it's just a shrink wrap that is kind of too short. Probably someone has had a bad day at the factory. That has some weird discoloration going on at the bottom, so I'll check that. And we're making some good progress. I replaced the burned out light bulbs. We're going to see that in the next segment. I pulled the back panel apart in order to resolder the RCA jacks. I did that. And also resoldered some joints on this board here. There weren't any obviously bad ones, and I gotta say the soldering of those RCA jacks was a lot better than what I remember from the other preamplifier. So you can see I now have the power supply board taken out, and we do have some trouble going on this. We got this nasty circuit board glue, this nasty component glue, and as you can see over here, I already scraped it off for the most part. You can see this resistor is kind of oxidized. Oops! That resistor is kind of oxidized right there. It's green. Also have some on that and some of this cable. So I'll have to check all that. The capacitors in that area right there, they all checked fine. The values were a little on the low side, but still within tolerance. ESR was perfectly fine. We have some more glue over here. This was the discoloration that I was talking about in the introduction, and as you can see, I'll definitely have to stupid focus. I'll definitely have to check those diodes down there, because look how badly oxidized those are. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were broken. So I'll take these caps out and remove the glue and check those diodes. That's going to be the next step. Luckily that circuit glue was quite brittle, so cleaning it off was not too hard. As you can see, the two diodes are now nice and clean again, and they do still work. They are Zener diodes. I checked them, and also went through and resoldered some suspicious looking joints on the power supply board, so that should be good to go now. The unit still works. Of course, I went through and replaced the burnout light bulbs, so as you can see, that's all fine now. And so basically things that are left to do is, well, for one thing, we'll have to check if those relays are functioning properly, because if you have an intermittent contact in those, using this preamp is not going to be fun at all, because every couple of minutes you'll be running for the input selector to work those relays in order to get the signal back. And yes, I am putting a lot of wear and tear onto those light bulbs, constantly switching around, but you know, if one blows right now, it's not going to be a problem because I have the unit all taken apart and I can just quickly replace it. You know, if I have the thing all back together and one burns out, that's going to be annoying. Well, anyway, and then the other thing that's left to do is to spray the switches and potentiometers with contact cleaner, because, well, you can't really hear it right now, but they are quite scratchy. Luckily, the contact problems managed to fix themselves pretty much. I only had to do one relay because it kept having contact problems even after using it for a while. It's that one marked with an R for repaired. That's of course just for my future reference. Went through that with contact spray, and I also want to do this. This is the output relay. Is this thing, just like a main amplifier, it turns the outputs on with a bit of a delay. I want to do that, and I want to show you how I'm doing it. And I'm even doing this one-handed. How about that? Bit of a challenge. Well, what we do is, luckily, these all of these relays will only have one position, the on position, in use. So as you can see, I'm inserting this paper strip into the contacts, in between the contacts, of course. Now I'm getting the contact spray, and I get that strip all nice and wet, nice and soaking wet. Now we turn on the unit. And there the relay has just engaged. And now we carefully pull this strip out. And that way we can pull the dirt out of there and get some contact spray into the actual contacts. And now I can just put the plastic cover back on there, and the thing is ready to go again. I unfortunately kept having contact problems in the amplifier, so I finally went through and did all of the relays. And did not put a little R on them anymore, because I did them all anyways. So those should be fine again, hopefully. I also went through and did this switch and that switch, as well as all the potentiometers on the front. So hopefully this is now going to work again. And it's starting to look like an amplifier again. Technically it should now be working fine. Cosmetically it's not ideal. After having the faceplate just lying round with the front side up for several months, I had to wash this because it was really dusty. I also went through and cleaned up all the buttons because those were the ones from the smoker unit, so they were filthy. Can turn it on, and as you can see, all the lights are working. And there it is, all back together. And probably the most amazing thing about this whole entire project is that after all this time, I still had all the screws. There was not a single one missing. Thank you for watching, and see you again soon.